This man's skull is sunken, but he doesn't look like he was in a fight. Could he have fallen?
If that were the case, there would be other marks of impact on his body. No. He was struck with an object to the back of the head. Given the shape of the wound, it was inflicted with a metal mace.
This man's skull is sunken, but he doesn't look like he was in a fight. Could he have fallen?
If that were the case, there would be other marks of impact on his body. No. He was struck with an object to the back of the head. Given the shape of the wound, it was inflicted with a metal mace.
May the enlightened protect me in this battle! May the shadow engulf our enemies! May the shadow engulf our enemies! Our enemies! The shadow engulf our enemies!
This poor soul was almost entirely devoured. He must have been killed by swamp animals.
Indeed, he was devoured, but he was already dead. There is a mark here, on the bones, that could only have resulted from the strike of a cutting weapon.
Alas, anyone could have stabbed this priest. Both natives and priests carry knives.
May the enlightened protect me in this battle!
Watch out!
Be careful! Your armor is falling apart! May the shadow engulf our enemies! Shadow engulf our enemies! Be careful, my child! You need healing! May the shadow engulf our enemies!
These fang marks are impressive. The poor man didn't have a chance. He must have been attacked by a large reptile. Most likely a Llewellyn.
Hold on. Do you see these iridescent marks on his skin? They look like the marks that the priest's spells leave on their victims. I've seen them many times before.
But what was he doing alone so far from camp? It It seems obvious now that these disappearances were orchestrated.
All these disguised deaths, these abject crimes. The natives can be violent, but they are not deceitful. I'm afraid that Brother Virgil may have found a way to take control of the expedition. He should be judged for it.
Indeed. I think that we should go find this brother and ask for an explanation. Brother Virgil.
Your Excellency! Weren't you supposed to be looking for our colleagues?
Indeed. I regret to say that they are indeed all dead.
I knew it. What a waste. Eugenia and her recklessness are to blame for this.
I'm afraid someone else is responsible for this. These deaths are not accidental, and yet they were disguised as such.
The savages! Their thirst for blood is unquenchable. I knew we should never have come without an escort.
Oh, Virgil, would you please stop taking us for fools? The natives had no hand in this.
Who else could it be?
Someone who desperately wanted this expedition to fail. Does that remind you of anyone?
Fine. You unmasked me. But know that my cause is righteous. The Ordo Luminis sent me to keep an eye on this expedition, to ensure that the discoveries we made would not jeopardize our nation or our presence on this island. But the inscriptions on the tablets are a heresy. A dangerous manipulation. Can you imagine what would happen if it was said that our founder listened to the teachings of the natives? But even then, foolish Eugenia accepted these discoveries as truth, without any hesitation, without realizing that our entire nation could suffer because of it. So yes, I wanted to scare her.
I understand that you might want to protect your nation, but to go as far as assassinating several of your colleagues?
Come now. What would you do if someone were threatening the congregation? You cannot make me believe that you would not be willing to kill. You may have already done so. But since you want to avoid using violence, help me convince Eugenia to go back to Eden. My colleagues and I know how to sort through these discoveries. And you will be rewarded, of course.
It is undeniable that these discoveries could cause a great upset in Taleme. But he has no right to decide what should be revealed or not. On this island, Cornelia should be the one to decide. Be careful with your accusations, though. Eugenia and her colleagues are on edge. We wouldn't want them to start killing each other.
It seems to me that all members of this expedition are concerned. They should decide on what to do next. Everybody listen. Alas, I must inform you that I have found the dead bodies of your missing colleagues.
How awful. What happened to them?
Someone wanted us to believe that they were killed by some swamp animals, but it was all staged. Your colleagues were murdered, and their bodies abandoned to the creatures.
What? But why do such a thing? And who murdered them?
Brother Virgil confessed to his crimes in front of me.
Monster! You will pay for these crimes. These people you killed were our brothers, our friends.
You stupid goose. You really believe that I will let you pass judgment on me? You shouldn't have been so quick to accept these lies that could destroy our nation. And want to reveal them for all to hear. You are solely responsible for these deaths.
How dare you present yourself as the protector of our nation? Murderer!
May the enlightened protect me in this battle!
Watch out! Grenade!
I'm sorry, sister. Brother Virgil fled during the battle.
The coward. And naturally, his accomplices fled along with him. What a waste. So many people died.
Perhaps I shouldn't have revealed his crimes in front of everyone. But I thought it was the best way of ensuring he would be judged.
Considering how high tensions have been these last few days, a fight was inevitable, alas. But you did what you thought was fair. Here, take this. As a token of gratitude for shedding light on these dismal events. Alas, we will have to go back to Eden as well. There are too few of us to continue the research.
Were you hoping to discover more?
Of course. This place was but a single step in St. Matthias's journey. The last tablets speak of a journey northbound, further up in the swamp. But even if Virgil is no longer a threat, we are not sufficiently well equipped to go there.
We could go there for you if you wish. You just have to tell us where to look.
That would be marvelous. Of course, you would have to start from the excavation site where he wrote this. I think I noticed a path going north when I was there, actually. Look for any traces of life. Perhaps you will be lucky enough to find more of his writings. That would be fantastic.
Don't worry. I will conduct this research and come find you here if I uncover anything.
You again. Your curiosity is truly unquenchable.
Forgive our intrusion, Duncas. But I really want to attend Year One's ritual. I have learned a lot thanks to you, but I still have so much left to understand.
If you were one of ours, Afra, I would be flattered to have such an inquisitive and resolute apprentice. You can attend the ritual, but promise me that you will be discreet. No Renaigse ever had this honor before.
We will do everything in our power to prove ourselves worthy of your trust, Duncas. How are you? You must be feeling impatient.
Impatient, yes, and a little bit afraid as well.
It's only natural to be afraid, Year One. It's a new life starting for you. But I will be by your side, now and forever.
You look preoccupied.
Our people have suffered many lions' attacks, often during rituals. In some villages, all the young Sinalmanawi were abducted. You seem different from the others, Zafra. But I can't help worrying.
I have nothing to do with these attacks, Dunkus, I swear.
I believe you. Otherwise, you would not be here with us. But I hope that your brothers will not be there in the shadows, ready to pounce on our children.
Times really must have changed for some Renaigse to attend our rituals.
These are very different from the others. Their leader is an Onol Menawi after all.
I know I look like them, but I'm not one of them.
You may not be bonded, but your parents must have been.
You should be proud and happy about it. It is probably thanks to your bond that Dunkas has accepted your presence.
Arwich neistiri, adesta marar mam.
You are an Onol Menawi now, Yawan. And soon you will heal the earth by our sides. Like a real Donegard.
Thank you, Dunkas. I feel so proud.
I am so happy that we can be Voglendaiga together at last.
What about you, Afra? Did you find the answers you were looking for?
It's strange. I didn't exactly understand what happened, but I am moved.
Some events must be understood with the heart, not the head.
It seems like you are right, Dunkus.
We are under attack.
Feelings don't matter.
The lions want to take our
I won't let them take you, Miriam.
Dé Sarde, we have to protect them.
You can count on me.
May the shadow engulf our enemies! May the shadow engulf our enemies! Your curiosity, Afra, has saved lives. If it weren't for you, people from my village would have been abducted or killed. I am infinitely grateful, especially considering that fighting against your brothers could not have been easy.
Indeed. These people were brutes. They had it coming. However, you don't know how right you are, Dunkus. I recognize some of these men.
Really? Did they belong to the governor's court?
No. They worked for my former master, Dr. Isili. I was his student for a long time before I realized that this man's methods were questionable. He was so obsessed with his goals that he became cruel. But I can't believe he'd go as far as abducting people for his experiments.
You think that the Onol Menawi are used for experiments?
Now that I have seen these soldiers, I am certain of it. And I'm afraid they may suffer atrocious treatment under the guise of scientific progress. I am so ashamed.
Come now, shame serves no purpose. And you are proof that the Loyans are not all the same.
Thank you, Dunkus. And thank you, Dé Sarde. You opened my eyes.
Protect me in this battle! May the enlightened protect me in this battle! May the enlightened protect me in this battle!
Watch out! Grenade!
Your armor is falling apart! May the enlightened protect me in this battle!
their so-called saint lived around here, he must have looked for a sheltered area.
Protect me in this battle! The shadow engulf our enemies!
A cavern. Hermits often choose places like this when they want to live away from the world.
Indeed, there are some traces of life here. But we will have to examine this place thoroughly to find proof that
May the enlightened protect me in this battle! May the shadow engulf our enemies! Protect me in this battle!
Watch out! Grenade!
magnificent. If St. Matthias did come here, this is where he must have settled.
Let's take a closer look at these paintings. We may learn something from them. This mural depicts an old man praying in front of a face in the mountain. He's holding a rosary. St. Matthias. Praying to Enon Miel Frictimen. This mural is very ancient. It depicts an old man dressed as a priest getting his face painted by a masked native. Engraved tablets. They resemble the ones we recovered in Eden. We should take them with us. The researchers would be delighted to study them. I don't know these glyphs, but these spirals are native symbols. There are some words in our ancient language next to them. The light and the earth are the two faces of a same power. It's impossible to know if this is a translation or another sentence. But this is a message that would seriously displease the Inquisitors. It looks like a chaplet made of pewter. It's rather basic, but it was made a long time ago. And it undeniably comes from the continent.
This is incredible. Saint Matthias is often depicted or described as using a similar chaplet. Oh, I feel so lucky to be here, in this cavern where our founder lived.
There are some native symbols here, and some letters I recognize, as if someone had tried to write in the native language using our alphabet. Men duis dad, enon miel frictimen. This is incredible. Saint Matthias would have known about the spirit of the island and would have prayed to him.
I don't know if you realize the importance of what we've just discovered. Saint Matthias, the founder of Ptolemy, finished his life worshipping the islanders' god. This is so incredible. Although it will cause a huge upset for our nation, our cult, and our relations with the natives.
I wonder what I should do with these relics. Eugenia probably didn't imagine that Saint Matthias lived his life in a way that's so different from what they advocate. As for Virgil, he wasn't wrong. Such a revelation will certainly cause a schism in Ptolemy.
The great revelation that will change mentalities for good, or the preservation of the dogma at all costs? I think you already know which side I'm leaning towards.
I already took sides in their quarrel. If I change my mind, I'm afraid that it might be seen as treason. I'll think about it on the way there. Let's go back to the researchers' camp.
Protect me in this battle!
So, did you find anything? Or do you need my help?
We discovered a cave that was inhabited a long time ago by a whole group of people, mostly natives, who had obviously created a sacred site, as the place was guarded by a creature.
And have you found traces of our holy founder? New relics? Perhaps some tablets?
There were also frescoes on the site, representing Saint Matthias.
Frescoes? Tell me more. This is fascinating.
He was shown having his face painted by a native. On the other, he prayed to a god of the mountain.
You can't be serious. You mean to say that our saint converted to the cult of the islanders?
That is what emerges from our findings, yes. Other objects that I was able to bring back also point in this direction. Look. There are inscriptions. These tablets and also this chaplet.
This chaplet? I cannot believe it. It is so... Excuse me. I cannot find the words to express how I feel. You must come with me. We must go and present all these discoveries to the Mother Cardinal. You realize our entire dogma will have to change. So far, anyone who wanted to question it would have burned their fingers. Literally, alas.
And you think that this time they'll listen?
We have solid proof. All this evidence. With your support, we will convince her to reveal the truth.
I see. I will do my best to help you.
It seems we are arriving right on time. You did well to warn us, Brother Virgil.
Virgil? How did you know?
I'm afraid that your Excellency's lies weren't very convincing.
We were informed of your discoveries and of the danger they represent. We demand that you hand them over to us immediately, so that they can be destroyed.
How can you even suggest the destruction of relics written by the hand of our founder?
Out of love for our dogma, for our faith, and for our nation. But since you refuse to comply with our orders, you leave us no choice.
Death to the heretics!
Maybe unless you protect me in this battle! May the shadow engulf our enemies! Careful, my child! May the shadow engulf our enemies!
So, did you find anything?
We discovered a cave, mostly native.
And
Someone from the mainland had probably lived there, but they must have died quickly. Unfortunately, though, I have found no irrefutable proof of Saint Matthias's presence.
what a shame. And you did not find a grave?
No, and I searched well. He must have been buried elsewhere.
It's strange. So far, we have always found traces of his journey. I would have loved to have been there with you, to be able to realize it for myself.
It would not have been a good idea. The area is very dangerous, teeming with creatures.
Excuse me. I should be more grateful to you. You took a big risk. It's just disappointing. I think we should pack our things and return to Eden. Perhaps I can convince my colleagues to organize another, better-armed expedition.
Goodbye, sister.